So today's society is completely obsessed with information, achieving more goals, getting more money, relationships, whatever. Now, I'm not demonizing these things. I'm not saying they're inherently wrong, but how many people are actually looking for wisdom? Because wisdom is the highest achievement in life. Now, what is wisdom? Wisdom is something that you get in touch with internally by being placed in situations by life itself, in situations where you need that wisdom, where they're not so simple to solve, situations like that. If life puts you in these kinds of situation, you can be sure that you start seeking wisdom. Be it first you seek wisdom externally by reading more, watching more videos about wisdom, about spiritual growth, philosophy. So you're actively seeking wisdom because the situation you're in, just you need the wisdom. You cannot move past that situation unless you use wisdom. But then you start looking for wisdom internally, which is where the true magic, it's not really magic, but this is where magic happens, so to say, which means you realize that you have deep wisdom within you, that it's always there and you just need to get in touch with that. But how many people are doing that? There are so few people who actually look for true deep wisdom, because wisdom always knows what to do and what not to do. But because people are obsessed with speed, money, productivity, we tend to value these things higher and more than actually wisdom. Because to these people, which is, I don't know, 90% of society, they don't see value in wisdom. Yeah, they may read some quotes here and there, they may read a book here and there. And wisdom is not about reading books or quotes, but this is how they find wisdom, because they're not in touch with inner wisdom. And yeah, they may need that from time to time when they're faced with some challenges they cannot overcome. So they start looking for answers. And yeah, I get that. I was in that stage too. So true wisdom means you can actually see things clearly. Your vision is free of the obsessive mind, overly heavy emotions. Like, you see things clearly. That's what the essence of wisdom is. It's the ability to see things as they are. Then automatically things like surrender, inner peace, finding God, they become a very natural process for you. It's no longer this mystical, spiritual experience. It becomes natural because you can clearly see through many of the illusions that this life has. Because Maya, the illusion, which makes you think that you're this body, you're this person, and that everything is so serious, you can see clearly through that. But I understand fully why most people are just deep in delusion, because Maya has them. It's because Maya is strong. It's one moment you may be thinking about stuff like what I'm sharing here, or you may be speaking to someone about these things, or watching a video, reading a book, and then you close the book, or the video is over, or the conversation is over, and then again Maya gets you. again, you fall back into a lower level of consciousness where you again start taking everything seriously. And I'm not saying by taking things too seriously that you should not have a sense of responsibility for your life. That's not what I'm saying. It's about taking life not seriously, but also seriously at the same time. It's a paradox. You can only intuitively understand what I'm trying to convey here. It's that you take your role seriously enough so that you can do whatever you need to do in your life, but at the same time, you remember that nothing really has meaning. And that's not a depressive thought. Like, if you hear nothing has inherently meaning and you get depressed by that, it means you don't see the truth in this saying. Because nothing has meaning and everything has meaning is the same thing. Like, your entire life, you no longer do things because you seek something from doing it. You do it because life force is guiding you to do it, and that's how your entire life operates now. And you can only understand that once you have some level of wisdom being activated within you. Because videos like this, books, lectures, they all help because they activate the inner wisdom that you have within you. Eventually, you have to get to a point where inner wisdom becomes the first thing you seek to be consulted with. Meaning, if you have a situation, then the first thing you do is you seek your own wisdom, because you have all the wisdom that you need. There is no wisdom that you don't have internally. It's all within you. But again, videos like this and books, they help you activate that inner wisdom. But eventually you get to a point where you seek guidance from within. Why? Because you see that no one and nothing can give you the exact instructions, because there are no exact instructions. There are no absolute rules. Like, one rule may apply to you, but it may not apply to me. And we may have apparently the same situation, but what applies to you will probably not apply to me. It may, but it may not. So there are no exact guidelines and rules to this thing, life. You have to find something wise or something like out of the it's in this world, but nothing can compare to that. And that thing is within you. If you seek that, then wisdom will automatically become your natural way of being. And everything you do, you're seeing it through the eyes of wisdom. And that is, in this life, the highest achievement you can have. Because if you have wisdom, you intuitively know how to handle each situation. I'm not saying that you will not feel like some situations feel like impossible to solve. You may experience that. But still, wisdom will be there to guide you on how to either change the situation or accept it. Wisdom will give you the guidance. And that's the only guru, that's the only teacher you can actually trust 100%. Because there are different teachers, there are different gurus for different levels of consciousness. And you may see truth, let's say in a spiritual teacher or someone, a philosopher, and you may agree with a lot of things that they're saying, but there might be these 10% that you don't really agree on. So what you do is you think, oh, because I don't agree with the 10% of what this teacher is saying, yeah, he's fake. There are entire channels on YouTube that just tear other people down, like their teachings or whatever they do. Like there are dedicated channels on YouTube that tear other channels down because they cannot understand that each teaching, each philosophy cannot be applied to all levels of consciousness. For each level of consciousness, there is a specific teaching there or a specific set of teachings. And once your consciousness goes on a higher level, automatically these teachings like they no longer apply to you. You don't need to practice them so hard. It's like they become a natural thing. And now you don't really resonate with teachings like that anymore. So you say, oh, he is a fake or she's a fake. They're not true guru. But you need to realize that if it wasn't for the lower level teachings, people would not be able to get the higher level teachings. Because let's say someone is completely living in delusion. They're all about like external things. Like the internal path has not started yet. And then you present them an idea, a teaching like you must surrender your entire life, stop doing things, and allow the divine flow to do things for you. They cannot comprehend that. It's like the level is not there to understand that teaching. So they may need to learn about something that will be more attractive to them, so they feel drawn towards it. If they're all about external things, and then some internal process is getting started, like the spiritual path is being initiated, they will be drawn towards manifestation, like fulfilling their desires, but now in a spiritual way. And they will be drawn to that. They cannot go immediately to level 10, let's say, of surrender and peace. They need to fulfill their desires because they want that. So the other teachings, they don't feel drawn towards them. But as they move on the path, their level of consciousness ascends, and now let's say manifestation and law of attraction and all these things, like they no longer become attractive because you stop seeing value in this world. And again, it's not a depressing thought, it's a freeing thought, because you see, wait, I don't actually need anything from this world. I can be okay the way I am. I don't need to constantly improve myself. I don't need to constantly try to manifest things. I don't need to do anything specifically. It's just I can just be here and allow flow to move me, allow God or the universe or divine flow or Tao to move me in my life. I don't need to control anything. I can let go actually and go with the flow. But this teaching will not be attractive to people at the lower stages because they cannot comprehend it. It's not on the radar. The consciousness is not ready for that. So, but wisdom is universal. Wisdom applies to all levels. But still, wisdom is one of the levels. which is one of the highest levels in this reality. But we don't know about other realities. Probably there are things higher than wisdom, which you transcend wisdom. But we don't get concerned with that. At least I don't get concerned with that for now, because it doesn't apply to me, you see? So my consciousness is not there yet to, let's say, be more about transcendence of things, which is beyond wisdom. So I will probably may get to that stage eventually, but still wisdom will apply. Wisdom always applies in this reality. And that's why I say it's the highest achievement of all. But it's not really an achievement, because you didn't manufacture it. You didn't make yourself wise. It happened because life initiated that process of getting wiser, because you're dealing with things that you think you cannot deal with. And in order to be able to do that, you need higher levels of wisdom. And how do you get that? You walk the path. You walk the path. And then you realize later that you're not really walking the path. The path, like the walking of the path, happens by itself. You just be here, exist, and the path is being walked by the so-called you as this human character. And these things, how do you get to know these things? How do you prove these things? Well, you cannot really prove any of this. Like, if you're trying to prove it, like I can prove like that, let's say this remote exists here, I can prove it, here it is. But how can you prove these things? Not in a physical way. You prove them intuitively. You need to get in touch with intuition. That's the thing. Only intuition can give you proof of, let's say, truth when we hear it. Nothing else can give you proof. Nothing else can give you nothing else can, I forgot the word. Like, nothing else can make you sure that what you're hearing or what you're feeling, what you're thinking, if you get a download about something, that it's actually true. Nothing can give you that assurance. I was looking for that word, assurance. Nothing can assure you that what you feel, think, or listen to is actually true. Only intuition can give you that. And that is the next level of wisdom, which is intuitive wisdom. You may gain wisdom through experience, but there is another side of wisdom which is not gained through experience, maybe through previous lives and so on, but it's available to you through intuition. So get in touch with that, because intuitive wisdom is the only guru, the only teacher you can trust 100% all of the time. Because no one can give you answers to anything. They will, even if they give their answers to you, they will not satisfy you. You will not feel like that's the answer, although that's the answer. Because you need to get confirmation from within. Once you get inner confirmation, then doesn't matter what anyone says, doesn't matter what the world tells you. Chase money, buy a fast car, buy a mansion, just go travel the entire world. It doesn't matter what people tell you. If you have inner confirmation of something, the whole world could be against that. still it's true for you because you know it's true and no one can convince you otherwise. Why? Because you got inner confirmation. Intuitive wisdom is being activated. So seek that, and don't even seek it, because seeking it implies you don't have it, but you have it. Just be aware. Be aware of that intuitive wisdom that is always within you. It will always guide you. And sometimes you may not understand the guidance because the mind, again, wants solutions, wants answers, wants to understand things. But intuitive wisdom will actually may guide you in a way that it tells you, now you need to do this. But the mind comes in and says, okay, what will the outcome be? And intuitive wisdom is quiet on that. It doesn't tell you what the outcome will be. It only tells you you need to do this. So you don't trust it because you want to see everything. You want to understand everything. You want to know the outcome. Once you let go of that part of the mind, which is the desire to want to know, to understand, to gain more knowledge, and even gain more wisdom, once you let go of that and you actually realize that you can trust your intuitive wisdom without needing to understand it, then things become irrelevant. Like the mind, it just gives up. It gives up because you don't give it food. You don't give it your attention. And you don't give it your attention because you see it doesn't do anything. It wants solutions, then you give it a solution and it's still not satisfied. It wants answers, you give it answer, it's still not satisfied. It wants more, 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 more. So it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't lead you anywhere. So you let go of that part of yourself, which is basically the mind, and you allow intuitive wisdom to move you through life without the need to control every single aspect and even control yourself. Because if you have higher knowledge, higher wisdom, what you realize is that you're not even in control of yourself. Like the decisions you make, the things you say, it's all flow happening. You don't have control over that flow. Flow will flow whatever in whichever direction it wants, and whatever it wants to do, the universe will do it through you, as you, and you have no control. You have control, but not as this human character, because you are the universe, so to say, and you essentially have control over the flow, but it's not you as the human character. So this human character has zero control over things. That's why I say in my videos, like, destiny is everything. Like, the happening of life is whatever will happen. You cannot stop it from happening. You cannot avoid it. If it's destined, so to say, to happen, it will happen. It will flow. And if it's not, then it will not. And you have no control over it. The best thing you can do is let go and move with that flow. Move with the flow of life and stop looking for answers. Answers are available within, but they are not really answers. Like, if you ask me, like, what's your name? My name is Stefan. That's a direct answer. But real answer, it's not an answer. It's not a specific answer. There is no specific answer to these things. It's more of a confirmation and guidance. No real answer here. So don't look for answers because you won't find them. Because every answer leads to more questions. Because once you have an answer, you have a deeper understanding, and that deeper understanding opens more questions. So you see how it's infinite. You can never get all the answers because it's infinite. The answers are infinite, the questions are infinite. So for the purposes of living a more simple life, living a more peaceful existence, you need to let go of wanting to know it all, because you won't ever know it all, at least not in this life. So don't even try to seek wisdom. Just be wisdom. See, clearly see things. Don't try, just see. Be aware. Awareness, that's all that is required. Awareness. And don't try to be aware, just be aware. Observe. And wisdom is then a natural happening for you. So, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.